So attention to all life insurance agents. Are you tired of buying leads, spending money, not making sales, getting objections, and not making the money that you want to be making as a life insurance agent? Well, I actually lived it. My first 14 days as a life insurance agent, I made zero sales, and I almost quit in my first 30 days as a life insurance agent. And I want to share with you today in this video, once I did these three things that I'm about to give to you in this video, everything completely changed. I went from making no sales to selling $40,000 a month per business of every single month like clockwork. I started going from making no money to over $10,000 per month as a life insurance agent. And I finally had things starting to click. And I promise you, if you watch this video, you will start selling more deals, you will start making more money, and you will be a better life insurance agent overall. But I want to give you guys real proof, real evidence before we even start. Okay, on my screen here, you can see in 2022, this is a young me with my backwards hat. I had my script here next to my highlighter. I was actually writing out the script on my computer at the time, and I had my notebook also writing out the script and probably doing some quotes as well. I had no idea what I was doing. I was lost. I was struggling. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the coaching. I didn't have the right process in place, and I had to figure it all out. And this video is going to cut all that figuring out so that you can actually start making more money as a life insurance agent. But fast forward, I had $6,000 in my bank account and a Hail Mary. I had no idea what I was going to do, but what I was able to do is I was able to do these three things, and I'm going to share with you what this is about. This is about the script. I'm going to share with you some interesting things about the script that you need to know. And I went from zero sales in May to $4,000 of issue paid business, to $43,000 of issue paid, to $54,000 of issue paid, to $79,000, $80,000 of issue paid business in my first 6 months as a life insurance agent. And I've know this works so good as I even have trained a team over the last 2.5 years. I have an agency, Legacy Family Life, and what I'm about to share with you is what we practice and preach. We've done over $14 million of sales, and we have over 14,000 sales year to date with what I'm about to give you. I know this works, and I know it's going to change your life. So let's talk about the meat and the stuff that you need to do. So out of the three things, here's the first thing that you need to do right now as a life insurance agent if you want to start making more money and absolutely start crushing it. The first thing is you have to learn how to breathe. Write this out. Breathe the script. Okay, so we're going to write this down. So what's kind of funny is you guys probably watch a lot of my live sales calls, and this young fella right here, this me in 2022, I actually showed up to my first ever sales training with this script. And I sat down, I get called on, and the guy's like, my trainer at the time's like, go for it. And I was sweaty, I was nervous, I stumbled. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know how to say a sentence, right? I absolutely sucked. And what I did after that moment is I realized that until I can learn how to actually go through this script, start to finish with my eyes closed, I have not mastered the script. And once I did that, everything started to change. So let me first talk about what breathing the script is. Breathing the script is not just memorizing the script. I'm going to share with you what it is and then ultimately how to do it. Breathing the script means that everything in your body, right? You wake up, you know the script. You go to bed, you start dreaming of the script. You close your eyes, you can do the script. And the question that you need to ask yourself right now if you're struggling is that if someone took your script away from you right now and you had to show up just off of memory and your ability, could you go through the whole scripting process? And this is the core fundamental that if you don't have your script down, you are going to you're going to sound like you're reading from the script. You're not going to listen that well. You're going to be disengaged. People are going to sound like, hear the papers turn. And just from a simple act of not knowing the script and not breathing the script, you're going to struggle to make sales. So once you know what breathing the script is, now you understand how it impacts your sales ability. Let me share with you how to actually start implementing how to breathe the script. So the first thing that I did on how I learned to breathe the script is you can saw from that picture on that notebook. The first thing that I did is I started writing out the script. Okay, and there's two caveats to writing out the script. One thing that I did is I used to type out the script, and I also used to physically write it out. Okay, this allows me to engage in different parts of my brain to make sure I can prepare it. Now, when I was typing it out, what I would do is I probably typed out 40 to 50 different copies of my script in my first month as a life insurance agent. Because what I would do is I had parts of the script that made absolutely no sense that I was doing it, and I would get people to hang up on me on those parts, and then I would go ahead and tweak that part. But hopefully you don't have to go through 40 to 50 generations of a script. You can have one winning script that's going to help you do it. Now, what you want to do is you want to physically write that script out. If you can't write it out through memory, you don't know the script. You can't breathe the script. The second way that you can actually start going out there and breathing it is the blackout method. So let me share with you a little bit of the blackout method. I'm going to zoom back into my face. So what I used to do and what I would do right now and how I train my agents is you need to take your script and you need to print it out. Okay. You need to print out 2 copies. On that one copy, you need to go ahead and have a clean script. And the second copy, you're going to have your script with a black pen or black highlighter or black Sharpie. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that black highlighter, black Sharpie, and you're going to start from word 1 of the script. You're going to go through all line by line of the script, 6 pages of the script. Boom, 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 read it all. Then you're going to go back to the top and you're going to black out that first letter that you started with. And then you're going to go to the second letter of the script. And you're going to read it word for word, line by line, all the way down 6 pages. And then you're going to go ahead and black that out. And you're going to do that all the way through your script until your script is blacked out. And you would have said it hundreds and hundreds of times so that when that script is completely blacked out, you can go back to your clean script and you know that you can do it word for word, line by line. It takes work. So that is called the blackout method, but it allows you to get so many reps, so many opportunities to do your script so that you have it like the back of your hand. Okay. The third thing that I did to make sure that you can breathe the script, because without the script, you have no opportunity at selling, is that every time that I was not selling life insurance, whether that was going to the gym in the morning or if that was, going to, a late night call or an appointment, I used to do it in person when I was driving to appointments or I was, resting for bed. What I would do is I would actually listen to top performers calls on repeat. So I'd have my script in front of me. I would have the calls playing in the background and I would be going through it line by line and just thinking, they said this. I would pause the video and I would think, what would I say? And I would say it and they said it. Who was someone who was better than me. So I humbled myself. I found people who were better than me and I just studied and listened to calls on repeat until I went to bed with nightmares of these scripts and live calls playing in my ear. And if you do that and you start dreaming of the script, okay, if you start dreaming of the script, that means you have now mastered your process. And no more confusion, no more thinking about what you're going to say, no more the prospect understanding that you're reading a script. You can now be fully present with your script and you can go through the full sales process. So that is step 1, core thing that you need to look at right now and you need to master. And why is that so important? Because that feeds into our second, one of the most important parts of being a life insurance agent that I didn't have. I sucked in the beginning is you have to master, write this one down too. You have to master tonality. Okay. Tonality. Okay. What is tonality? Tonality is your client's interpretation of the words that you say. Okay. But I want to give you a story on why this is important. If I gave you my script right now, okay. If I gave you my script right now and I was like, go for it, figure it out, you probably wouldn't have the same results because you would read the script line by line. Okay. And you wouldn't get people to open up like you needed them to. And even the worst thing ever, when I was a new life insurance agent, I was told and trained, just read through the script like you're not interested, like you're bored, like you're at a call center and you hate your job. And I did that for the first month. Okay. Because that's what my, upline and everyone told me to do. But then I had this genius idea. Well, what if I just sound like I care about people? Well, what if I sound like, I can be interested or I can be curious when people say things, or maybe I'm confused, or maybe I can just have fun and laugh at all. Miss Betty, you're a crazy girl, and I can have some fun. What I realize right now, right there, is that I was able to connect. I was able to open up to my prospect. And most importantly, I was able to get into emotional or logical states, which allowed them to make buying so much easier. But there's 3 tonalities that you need to be an expert at right now if you want to master selling life insurance over the phone or even in person. Okay, the first tonality, the most important, is our curious tonality. I'm going to share with you what it is, what it sounds like, and how to do it. Okay. Now, before we get into any of these tonalities, we're going to have 2 and we're going to have 3 different tonalities. Before we even talk about having different types of tonalities, you have to understand how to allow yourself to articulate these tonalities. And the best way that you can see it right now is my physical present. Okay. Your physical posture is everything in your tonality. If I want to be sad, I'm going to be like, okay. If I want to be happy, I'm going to smile. And you're going to see how that impacts everything. So your physical posture, if you are selling life insurance and you're slouched over, if you're mad at the world, if you're upset, if you're disengaged, and that has the highest impact on your vocals, which impacts your ability to build these tonalities that are going to absolutely crush your sales process. So your physical posture is important. So what is the curious tonality? Okay. Your curious tonality is when you're going to lean in. You're unsure. You can see that my eyes are squinting. Huh, Miss Betty, when you say that, what do you mean by that? So my physical posture is open-handed. My eyes come together in a squint. And I lean like I'm like a parrot. My head cocks to the side. When you say you need to think about it, what do you mean by that? Okay. So that tonality is very important because it allows your prospect to help you feel like you're genuinely interested and allows them to share more. If you are speaking more than your prospect on your sales calls and you are just making statements, you are going to struggle at making sales. But the minute that you go from making statements to asking really good, curious questions, get your prospect to open up to get them to want to sell themselves. So I want to give you guys an example. Question 1 in our script. Okay. Question 1 is, what had you motivated to start looking around for some life insurance now? Okay. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. What had you motivated, Miss Betty, to start looking around for some life insurance now? Okay. So what you can see is my eyes come together, squint. My hand comes aside. But how to be curious is that at the end here. At the end is I have a inflection up in my last statement. And the last word, this is an upward inflection. Like now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to elongate the last word in that question and I'm going to move it upwards, inflected up. Okay. So it sounds like this. It's not, what had you motivated to start looking for life insurance now? It's not down. It's actually up. What had you motivated to start looking around for some life insurance now? And I soften my tone, I elongate the now, and the upward movement comes up. It creates curiosity. Oh, she did? Same thing. She did. What happened? And those extensions, it's a little exaggeratory. Those extensions of the words that you elongate and move it upward allow the prospect to think that you're curious and invites them to share. And if they share things, that is good. So the first tonality that you have to master, and how do you master tonality, is you do it, you replay it, you record yourself, and you listen to it. Okay? Because you might sound like you're doing it, but if you're tone deaf, it's not going to sound great. So you want to go ahead and ask this question. So it wants to sound like this. And what had your motivated eyes to start looking around for some, Paul's, life insurance now? And then they're curious. And you can use that curious tonality to invite them to want to share and to open it up. Now, the second important tonality that you need to master, because we're not going to sound like robots here. We're not going to sound like boring call center people. You need to master what's called the concerned. Oh, this thing can't write. Concerned tonality. Okay. What is concern? Okay. Something bad happens. How do you react? Okay. So the first thing when it comes to concern tonality is your posture. My eyebrows don't go like this. My head doesn't turn to the side. My hand typically comes over my heart a little bit. Oh my gosh. My hand comes around my face. Oh my gosh, your daughter died. I'm so sorry. Oh gosh, what would they have to do? Okay. This is a sense of, I'm not talking to you guys like this, right? These ranges, are you playing the part of being a master at your tonality? It's not acting. You have to come into the character. You have to be the chameleon to adapt to that person. Okay. So how do you do the curious tonality? What you're going to notice is my speed is slower. My words are softer. And instead of me ending with an upward moving in my tonality, I'm actually going to move it down. So it's going to come down in my tonality. And why is that important? Because I'm going to soften it. Oh my gosh, she just passed away. How are you doing? Oh no. Okay. And that allows me to think that I am very, concerned for the situation. Now, why is the concern question important? So the question would be question 2 in our script. And you guys have all the scripts for free in my school community. And we're going to pause here. In my school community, You can get all my scripts, you can get all my resources for absolutely free. And if you just want to be trained by me and join my team and get my leads and get my systems and get the live calls, you can do that. We're hiring here at Legacy Family Life. Cool. But question 2 is, and God forbid, Miss Betty, if you passed away tomorrow and your son John doesn't have $15,000 in the bank, what would he have to do? Okay, so do you guys hear that do, that word, that do? It sounds like, what do you have to do? I'm going to elongate that last word, do, and it's going to come down in a movement, not up. What would he have to do? That's curious. I don't want curious. So it's going to sound like this, and role play this with me. I Miss Betty, God forbid if you passed away tomorrow and you told me that John, he doesn't have the money, that he would be on a fixed income, that he doesn't have any money in a bank account. Well, what would he have to do? And from that question, it invites her that you're concerned. She understands that her situation is a lot more worse than she thinks. And most importantly, it gets her to understand that there's pain. In order to sell someone a policy, you have to have pain, typically if they don't have a problem. People want to solve problems because they're trying to avoid pain. And how do you do that? Is use the right tonality, that concerned. Oh my gosh, they don't have money. What would they have to do? Oh my gosh, walk me through that. What would that look like? Oh no, Miss Betty, what would that mean for you? And if you're concerned, they're concerned, and they realize their pain's a lot worse than they ever thought it would be, which allows them to want to sell themselves. The third tonality, okay, is our lovely playful tonality. Okay, this is a great tonality for intro objections, okay? And it's also very important to lower their guard, okay? Sometimes people just have their guard up, so it's your responsibility with your tonality to bring their guard down, okay? If someone's not giving you information, if someone's not opening up, if someone's hanging up on you mid-discovery or mid-questions, that is because your tonality is not disarming them enough. It is not the script. It is not they are mean. It's not because they suck. It's because you're unable to lower their guard. You're not using maybe the curious tone enough. You're not using the concerned tonality enough. But the best tonality to lower the guard when tensions are high, when things are just, you can feel it. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to do this, is you use the playful tone. And here's quickly one way that I do this, especially when people call in and they're mean in the first 30 seconds. Okay. When it's playful, my gestures are up. I'm typically smiling. I'm kind of joking a little bit, and you're going to see my teeth a lot because it's going to be like fun. I'm just having a good time. Okay. I'm sitting back in my chair and we're just having some fun. Okay. The playful tone that I use most often is going to be in the intro. Who the hell's calling me? Why are you calling my phone? It's 9:00 in the morning. Why are you calling me? Okay. What I'm going to do there is, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, Mr. John, I woke you up. You're still sleeping in over there, huh? Yeah, I'm sleeping in. Cool. Well, at least you're staying out of trouble. You're staying out of trouble, aren't you, Mr. James? Okay, good. Then he knows I'm human, right? I'm just trying to have some fun. I'm not going to be like, well, it shows here that you listed your daughter as your beneficiary and you don't have any life insurance. Is that in place? So what I want to do is I want to notice the tensions go up. So when the tensions go up in any situation, let's do this, boom, tensions go up. Well, I'm not telling you who my beneficiary is. Why do you need to know that? Tensions go up. I got to lower the tension by selecting a playful tonality. Oh, I figured you didn't want to tell. You just met me on the phone. You probably think I'm a stranger. I don't blame you. Who do you think is going to be your beneficiary? That playful, ha ha ha, tongue-in-cheek tonality allows me to disarm the situation, allow them to want to give me the information. So first way is intro. I'll give you another example. Hey, why do you need my social security? I'm not giving you my social. Well, Miss Betty, they just want to make sure that if you die, I'm just not putting insurance on the neighbor. I'm actually putting on you. You know what I mean? And then I can kind of disarm them that way. So one of the most important tonalities, when things get hot, when the tensions are rising, it's your responsible to lower their guard, have some fun, and be kind of charismatic or a person that is going to disarm them. Okay, so we have the three tonalities: curious, concerned, and we have our playful tone. So you already have the script down. Okay, you've mastered the script. You know exactly how to do the script. The second thing is you've mastered the tonality. So what do you need to do next? Okay. The third thing that you need to understand is actually what I call product or underwriting. Writing. This is kind of sloppy. Knowledge. Okay. Okay. So now that you know how to sell, now you know kind of like how to have the right tonalities in place. I want you to have this visual in mind. And this is what I was thinking through. Let's say you were going right now to buy a Tesla. You love Teslas. You've been studying anything about electric vehicles. Love Elon and all that fun stuff. And you go to the Tesla dealership. The guy there on the lot that sells you a Tesla car is a diesel guy. He just randomly got the job because the Tesla dealership didn't have enough people to staff, and this guy is the one that is going to be selling you this Tesla. So you get in the car and you start asking him questions about the battery, and you ask him questions about the leather, or how long does it take for production. And this guy has no idea what he's talking about, and you know more than he. Do you think have a high likelihood, even though you love Teslas, and confidence of wanting to buy a Tesla at this dealership? And the answer is probably not. And I want you guys to remember this. A lot of people teach this practices that people buy from people they like, right? The answer is I don't believe that's true. People buy from people who they have the highest confidence will solve their problem. And in this case, we're selling life insurance. If you don't know your stuff, if you don't know your products, if you don't know your underwriting, if you don't know your applications, I'm going to share with you the things that you need to know to start winning as a life insurance agent. People are not going to buy from you. I'm going to share with you what those are and how to do it. So the first thing that you need to understand is, first off, number one is underwriting. Okay. When you become a life insurance agent, you are not just someone who sells life insurance. Okay. You are someone who sells peace of mind. And to sell that peace of mind, you have to understand how to sell them the right product. And when it comes to underwriting, there's things that you need to master before you can frame yourself as the expert. And that is the goal in your product knowledge. You are to go to a doctor. They are going to solve your problem. Same thing here. You need to understand the medications. And until I did this, I actually started realizing I can make way more money and I can actually not sound like an idiot on the phone. When someone tells me they're taking a torvastatin, okay? When someone tells me they're taking lisinopril, when someone tells me they're taking, gabapentin, how I frame myself as an expert is, oh, okay, you're taking the gabapentin for, neuropathy. Is that right? Okay, Miss Betty. And she's like, damn, this young guy, how does he know more about medications than me? So your understanding about medications, you are becoming a mini doctor. You need to sign up. And you need to go ahead and you need to take a medical sheet. There's medical sheets that are in my free school exam, and you need to start studying medications for heart attacks, for strokes, for cancers, for diabetes, for COPD, and you need to start framing yourself as an expert. The second thing you need to understand is you need to understand not only the medications but the conditions. Okay, until I understood the conditions, then I could go ahead and select the right carriers. Because one of the biggest mistakes that I made early on that cost me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of sales is, people would give me their medications. I would have a little basic checklist. I didn't have the tools in place. So I would take them to one carrier. They would get declined. I would take them to another carrier. They would get declined. I would take them to another carrier. They would get declined. And then before they know it, after 3 to 4 pivots, they're like, screw this. I don't want the life insurance. Call me later. And they would never pick up. So you need to understand your medical conditions on what carriers are paired with medical conditions. If I have COPD right now, and I have high blood pressure, HBP, and I have a stroke, let's say 3 years ago, okay? What carriers will give me the best options, right? And what carriers, secondly, this is the second thing you need to understand. Let's tie this into our second, is competitive, okay? So the second thing you got to understand is your products in the market, okay? So if someone is like, well, I'm going to go ahead since I have COPD, I have high blood pressure, and I have a stroke, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go buy a policy with Mutual of Omaha. Okay. And let's say they have diabetes before 30. Let's say they were diagnosed at age 30 with diabetes. And they're like, Peter, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go work with Mutual of Omaha. Mutual of Omaha is a great carrier. We write those carriers. Okay. And you could use this for any situation. So let's say they're going to say, I'm going to go to Mutual of Omaha. Well, what you need to know is that, hey, this person was diagnosed with diabetes before the age of 30, that if they go to Mutual of Omaha, they're going to get a 2-year waiting period. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to create value around the products that you're selling. Or someone might tell you, well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get a policy with AARP. It's going to get me the cheaper policy. I know right now AARP typically has an increasing term product that expires at a specific age. So Miss Betty's telling me she wants whole life insurance, and she wants a solution to cover all her burial expenses. I can then understand, based off her medical analysis and also the products that are in the marketplace, and I can shop them and give them the truth. Well, Miss Betty, you don't want a term that has an increasing price, do you? Absolutely not. So we're going to avoid that. And then she might say, well, I'm going to go over to Colonial Penn. Well, Miss Betty, did you want Colonial Penn? Have you got a quote by them? I haven't, but I see that it's $9.95. Okay. Well, for the $9.95 plan, Miss Betty, are you aware that it's going to be based off the units, not actual coverage? So you might get $9.95, but it only might be for, $1,200 of coverage. Is that going to be enough for you? No, it's not. So you have to understand these products in the marketplace, and you have to also compare those to the medications and medical conditions that your clients have, so that you can pair them with the best companies. Okay, so once you can understand that, then it allows you to understand how to avoid the waiting periods, which brings more value, how to find the best bang for your buck, and allows you to just prevent your clients from wanting to be these perpetual shoppers. Okay, now, the fourth thing that you need to understand, or if we're at the fourth thing, the third thing when it comes to part three, which is all around underwriting and knowledge, is how to do the carrier applications. Okay. So this was a huge, huge mistake that I made early on. Again, cost me a lot of money, and probably why you're struggling. Are people hanging up on you in apps? Are people not giving you their socials? Are people telling you they're not wanting to get approved? Okay. Are people are applications falling through? What you need to do right now, if you are struggling to make sales, is that you need to go into an application portal, whatever carrier you are, and you need to go and find what's called their sandbox. Okay. And you need to study that application like the back of your hand. Okay. You need to learn how to do the application efficiently. You need to do it quickly. You need to understand what medical questions are on there. Because a big mistake that you can make is that you get a client, they finally say yes, you get into the application, you fumble the bag, you're taking 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You don't know how to do the application. I'm like, John, I can tell you're not an expert. You have no idea what you're doing. And I'm not going to buy life insurance from you today because you just don't seem like a professional. And if you can put this together and you can go ahead and have a script that you breathe, okay, you can go through the script, combine that with the right tonality in your script, with an incredible product knowledge that you are going to be the best product expert in the field, that you know how to underwrite, that you know how to quote, that you know how to compare, that you know what the competitors are doing. And you then know how to fulfill that product on the back end by doing an application, submitting a clean application that's going to get to your prospect, and you submit it and sell it and finalize the deal all within short term, right? You are going to win as a life insurance agent. But back to our point here, right? The reason that you're probably struggling and not making sales is because you're truly, like I was in 2022, not an expert at knowing the script, right? You're fumbling the script. You don't know how to do the script. You're nervous. You're concerned. You have no good energy. You're worried about the script more than the prospect. And then combine that with a lack of good tonality. You're asking the same script the same way, the same time, every single time. You're not inflecting. You're not becoming the character. You're not opening the prospect up. You're not getting them to want to share with you more things. You are going to struggle as a life insurance agent. And that's why I made this video. If you can breathe the script, you can master your tonality, you can absolutely understand your underwriting knowledge and product ability, you will win and you will make more money and more life insurance agents guaranteed. I love you guys. If this video is helpful for you, want these trainings, I need to hear it in the comments below. Comment below. Also, if you want to apply and join my team, I'm hiring. I'm looking for great agents, and I want to actually show you how to make real money as an insurance agent. Click the link below and apply. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Cheers.